Hey everybody, this is Bob Kovacs here at Wirefly with another Wirefly cell phone Schmackdown. Now we usually have expensive high-end top-of-the-line phones on the Schmackdown ring here, but today I decided to go with a couple of midline phones that are pretty interesting phones, and I wanted them to go head-to-head. For one thing, they're both made by LG, and the fact is that they're both kind of similar under the skin, and I'm going to talk about that to some degree. But on the left here, I've got the myTouch by LG. It runs on T-Mobile's HSPA Plus network. On the right, I've got the LG Marquee for Sprint. It runs on Sprint's 3G CDMA network. So we have a 4G phone over here capable of theoretical speeds up to 21 megabits per second from the network. Over here we've got a 3G phone that can probably get, downhill with the tailwind, maybe 2 megabits per second. So from a network standpoint, we definitely have the opportunity to get faster speeds over here on the myTouch. But let's go ahead and take a look at these two phones because they do have a lot of things in common. Let's first get all those common things out of the way. They both run Android 2.3.4. They both have single-core 1 gigahertz processors. They both have 512 megabytes of processor RAM. Now they both have displays that have 480 by 800 pixel resolution. Over here on the myTouch, you've got a 3.8-inch diagonal AMOLED display with 480 by 800 pixel resolution. And on the LG Marquee, you have a 4-inch diagonal LCD Nova display with a resolution of 480 by 800. Now, this is a new display that LG came out with for the LG Marquee. This phone, by the way, goes by a couple of different names in different markets, but here in the US, it's the LG Marquee. And the Nova display is supposed to be very good when it comes to requiring power. It requires less power than other types of displays. It's supposed to also be very bright and very visible. So it is a new kind of display. It's an LCD display, but it's called the Nova display on the LG Marquee. So a little bit bigger display over here than you have over here on the myTouch. So the display size round goes over here to the LG Marquee. Just a very slight difference though, 3.8 to 4-inch. However, this is an AMOLED display. AMOLED, as you all know, I'm sure you know this, you're jumping up and down in front of your computer saying, I know. It means active matrix organic light emitting diode. I know you guys all know that. And that is one of my favorite display technologies. Possibly it is my very favorite display technology. So I really like an AMOLED display. So overall, I think that it's kind of like a draw. Yeah, you're a little smaller here screen-wise, but I like the screen technology a little bit. It's easier to see an AMOLED display off-axis than it is the LCD display, even though that is improved here with the Nova display. I think that that when you come right down to it, although this display is a little bigger, and I do like bigger, I'm an American after all, bigger is better, I would say that the AMOLED kind of trumps the bigger. So basically you've got about a draw when it comes to the screen overall rating here with the screens. Now, I talked about a lot of other things these phones have in common. They both have front-facing cameras. You have a VGA camera over here that's 640 by 480 and a 2-megapixel camera over here on the LG Marquee. So the LG Marquee wins the front-facing camera round. They both have rear-facing cameras. I'm going to just flip them over like this. They both have rear-facing cameras that are 5 megapixel. However, the myTouch doesn't have an LED flash. Over here you've got an LED flash to go along with the camera on the Marquee. So I'm going to give the camera on the Marquee, it's the same 5 megapixel camera in both of these, but I'm going to give the Marquee the advantage because it has the LED flash. Now notice when I put the two of these together, there's the speaker slot. So they both have the cameras in the same place. They both have the front-facing cameras in the same place. They both have the controls on top of the phone in the same place. So these phones are, the controls and the jacks, as you can see there, these phones are very similar. Their overall design is very similar. So one other thing that I like in the LG Marquee is that it has a dedicated camera shutter button right there. Now it's kind of awkwardly placed, but it is there. If I hold it down, it'll switch to the camera. Here, I'm going to hold that down. And there you go. It switches to the camera, and I now have a dedicated camera shutter button. It actually popped up to what I was last doing on the camera, which was reviewing images that I had taken. There we go. Now I'm the camera. Now the way I got to it was, of course, I touched the dedicated camera shutter button, which is right there. A little hard to see in the strange glare I have in my studio. So, of course, you can also get to the camera right here on the front. This has a camera over here on the myTouch, but the myTouch does not have a camera shutter button. I'm going to go ahead and switch to the still image camera there. So they both have cameras, obviously, and the cameras both have similar performance. Now that I'm talking about the cameras, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about that. I took photos with both of the cameras, and I set up a little still life on my desk. My usual models weren't available, so I set up the still life so that I could see what the photos look like. Here's what it looks like from the myTouch by LG. Not too bad, a little noisy, not fantastic. This is a cell phone camera, not a fixed, not a dedicated camera. So it did an okay job. Here is the image from the LG Marquee. Now the LG Marquee also seemed to be a stronger yellow, seemed to maybe have a little bit better contrast, but basically I'd say the camera images are a wash with that little still life that I set up. I want to take the back cover off and talk about what's under the back cover. I was talking about the similarities of these two phones. Check this out. They both have exactly the same battery. They both have LG BL44JN batteries. The batteries are 1,540 milliamp hour batteries, 1540 milliamp hours. They're both the same. Notice that both of these come with micro SD cards. They both are 2 gigabyte micro SD cards. So of course you can stick up to a 32 gig micro SD card in either phone. Now the LG Marquee comes with 4 gigabytes of internal storage on the phone. So out of the box, this has 6 gigabytes of internal storage here on the LG Marquee. On the myTouch, it has 2 gigabytes of internal storage. So out of the box, this has a total of 4. 2 internal, 2 in the SD card. This has a total of 6. 4 internal, 2 in the SD card. So the storage round goes to the LG Marquee. Both of these phones can do 720p HD video. Now you know that I like to run some benchmark tests. I'm going to go ahead and run the quadrant benchmark, and here we go. I'm going to come back to it when the benchmark test is ready to wrap up, and we'll pick up the results then. Okay, the speed test is ready to wrap up over here for the myTouch by LG. I'm going to go ahead and wait until the Marquee catches up, and we'll get the results together. This is the last of the visual tests, and I'll go ahead and get the results here. And as you can see, well, it's very tiny print, but the myTouch by LG got a score of 1,199. That's 1199. Over here on the Marquee, the LG Marquee, we have 1195, 1,195. Folks, that is, as far as I'm concerned, a tie. I'm sure that's well within the standard deviation for these two phones. So they both got the same quadrant score. I did a network speed test at my desk upstairs where I generally get better cell phone reception. So let's go ahead and take a look at that network speed test. This is a network speed test with the myTouch by LG on the left and the LG Marquee on the right. Now the myTouch is a T-Mobile phone and the Marquee is a Sprint phone, so they're on two completely different networks. I've got them side by side here. Now the myTouch is on a 4G network. It's T-Mobile's HSPA Plus network, and you can see it's jumped out to an early lead and looks like it's going to hold on to that lead, while the Sprint phone on the right is definitely lagging along on Sprint's 3G network. Now I wouldn't call what the myTouch got. I wouldn't say that that's a 4G network speed, and the Sprint phone ended up with 507, so 1180 to 507, those are kilobits per second. Neither of those is fantastic speeds, but as you can see, the myTouch by LG got more than twice the speed of the LG Marquee on Sprint. Well, I was actually expecting the myTouch to come out with a better score than it did. I mean, it basically got a respectable 3G score. The LG Marquee started out slow, but it made a reasonable recovery. So neither of those was fantastic. The myTouch was certainly a better speed than we got over here on the LG Marquee. But, you know, I'm going to go ahead and grant that round to the myTouch. Definitely had a faster speed. Neither was as good as it could have been, so there was no knockout in that round. So it's time to wrap up this Wirefly cell phone Schmackdown and declare a winner. I know that these two phones are very similar. I like the higher network speeds you get with the myTouch. I like the AMOLED technology, but I like the slightly larger screen that you get over here. And I like the fact that it has more storage out of the box, 6 gigabytes of storage versus 4 over here. I like the fact that this has an LED flash for the camera. I like the higher resolution front camera as well. So I'm going to declare a winner in this Wirefly cell phone Schmackdown is the LG Marquee for Sprint. Okay, I'm sure there's going to be some complaints along the way. They're both pretty good phones, especially when you consider that they're free. At least they can be free at some times. But I'm going to declare the winner over here. And by the way, if you want either of these phones or any other phone, please consider Wirefly as your cell phone supplier. We're the biggest supplier of cell phones on the internet in the US, and we got there for a reason, because we do a very good job. So give Wirefly a call when it comes time to replace your phone. Hey everybody, I'm Bob Kovacs here at Wirefly. Thanks for watching.